We're heading for elections in Israel. Do you see any surprises coming up there, especially since Prime Minister Netanyahu, under whom you've been working as a national security advisor in the past, is under accusations nowadays for different cases, bribery, other kinds of stuff? Are these accusations going to matter towards elections? What would you say?
I think we are going through a very, very difficult period in our history, because the nature of some of these suspicions and some of these findings by the police into instances of fraud or graft or bribery and different things have reached the top of the country, and that's very, very sad to see. Secondly, they came to touch the most sensitive sectors of our national existence, that is to say national security, because we've had, there is proof and evidence of criminal behavior in the area of procurement and defense, some of which is gas related. For example, the frigates that have been acquired in Germany to protect the gas fields on the Eastern Mediterranean, but also in the area of weapon systems. So this is a very, very sad condition. And at the same time, and not without a connection, elections have been called for, early elections. So you have a combination of the very high temper and temperature occurring as a result of the convergence of the two issues. So we are in for a very tense situation. Then it just so happened that the balance of forces electorally, as shown by the different surveys and polls, is of equality, basic equality in numbers between the center right and the center left and the two blocks. So it's going to be a tight election. And when elections are tight, the competition is fierce. They're fighting for every vote. And on top of that, we have all kind of new tricks and new games that have been creeping into national elections, such as cyber attacks. Now, you know, this is not Athenian democracy exactly, which is what is being practiced here. This is 21st century democracy with all the tricks in the book, done in Israel like elsewhere. Now, I think, and as a general observation, I can say that it is unhealthy for a country to have a government, a coalition, which consists only of one flank. That is today, only parties on the right, or only parties on the left, because this polarizes the country, and on so many issues, one has to have some consensus to go forward. To give an example, you talked about the Arab-Israeli issue. There is no way in Israel that any leader can make a decision either on war or on peace if he or she do not have a consensus support of the center and some of the body. You cannot do that. So the way to construct this kind of situation is by avoiding the extremes and having a more balanced, sometimes called national unity government, in which the coalition may be led by whoever gets the highest number of votes, but would consist geometrically by parties, some of which are left of center, moderately so, some parties are right of center, moderately so, and together they give a kind of a golden mean. This would be easier for Israel in the future if one would want to have a more acceptable foreign policy initiatives, if one wants to do social reforms, and that calls for a change. Because right now we have a coalition under Netanyahu which is purely right-wing. It consists of right-wing and another party which is even more right-wing, and yet another party which is even more right-wing, and then some religious parties who are often the partners. That is a very skewed structure. So I think the chances of a more balanced government is relatively high. But who exactly, what will be the exact configuration, I cannot tell you.